Dad, who is this man?
He's the one who came when I couldn't breathe.
Dad, we just showed up. We're worried about your health and your future.
You're worried about my money. You can't do this! I will sue you! I already signed everything over. You treated me like an inheritance. Love is proven by who shows up when you can't breathe.
They say blood is thicker than water, but no one warns you what it feels like when your own child turns cold. I was sitting on the edge of my bed in my Charleston bedroom one September afternoon, chest burning, struggling to pull in air, staring at my phone as it flashed 3 words that changed how I saw my family forever. Message not delivered. I had begged my youngest son for a ride to urgent care because I could not breathe, and he had blocked me. My name is Robert Matthews, and I am 72 years old, a retired construction foreman who spent 50 years in the same colonial home my late wife and I built our life in. Margaret died 6 years ago, and our estate became mine. A paid-off house worth about $1.8 million, a mountain cabin near Asheville, and investments that totaled just over $3.2 million, and my children knew every bit of it. After the funeral, they stayed close for 6 weeks, then vanished into busy lives and polished excuses. My eldest was a corporate lawyer in Atlanta. My daughter lived in Colorado, and my youngest was only 20 minutes away, but might as well have been on another planet. Before I tell you what happened next, comment where you are watching from and drop your city and state, because I want to know I'm not alone. And please subscribe to this channel. We are pushing to reach 10,000 subscribers by March 2026, and your support keeps stories like mine alive. That day, my truck was in the shop and my breathing got worse by the minute. So I called and texted all 3 of them. Voicemail, 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 and silence that felt louder than my wheezing. When I tried my youngest again, the call dropped and the line said the number was not available. I realized he had blocked his own father during a medical emergency. I had no close neighbors and no one my age I could safely lean on in a crisis. So I called a young man named Marcus, the 34-year-old son of my former work partner, who had passed away 3 years earlier. He had checked on me for years without asking for anything. And when he heard my voice, he said, "Do not move. I am coming." He arrived in minutes, used the spare key I had given him, and got me to urgent care, where they took one look at me and called an ambulance for severe pneumonia with dangerously low oxygen. He rode with me, held my hand, and then showed up every day while my own children stayed silent except for one late text that sounded more like a nuisance than concern. Lying there, I made a decision. After Marcus drove me home and made sure I had food, mail, and the house handled, I met with my attorney and changed my will, not out of spite, but because love is proven by who shows up when you cannot breathe. My attorney made it bulletproof with medical evaluations, notarized documents, and a recorded statement of my sound mind. Weeks later, my children suddenly reappeared with fake warmth and carefully timed questions, and I heard the truth in every pause. They were worried about the money, not me. When all 3 finally showed up together and found Marcus in my living room, they tried to call it manipulation and even threatened legal action. So I told them plainly, they had treated me like an inheritance instead of a father, and I would not fund that anymore. I signed the properties over while I was still alive to make sure no one could twist my final choices. And when my eldest tried to sue, the judge dismissed it after seeing the evidence of my competency and their neglect. Now I am still here with my dignity, my independence, and one person who actually cares. So tell me honestly, if your children ignored you when you were fighting for breath, would you protect them in your will or would you protect yourself? And before you scroll, hit like, share, and comment your answer. Let me take you back to the beginning so you understand how a father ends up cutting his own children out of his life. Because this did not start that September afternoon. This started years before, long before Margaret died, long before the money became the only thing my children saw when they looked at me. Margaret and I met when we were both 19 years old. She was a waitress at a diner on King Street. I was a young construction worker trying to make something of myself. I walked in one morning for coffee, and she smiled at me in a way that made me forget my own name. We were married within a year. and we spent the next 47 years building a life together. We were not rich back then, not even close. We rented a tiny apartment above a hardware store and saved every penny we could. Margaret worked double shifts. I worked weekends, and after 5 years of saving, we bought a small plot of land on the edge of Charleston. It was nothing fancy, just dirt and trees and a dream. But I built our house with my own hands. Every wall, every window, every beam. Margaret painted the rooms. She planted the garden. She made that house a home. And when our first child was born, I swore I would give him everything I never had. Our eldest son, David, came into the world on a cold January morning. He was perfect. 10 fingers, 10 toes and lungs that could wake the whole neighborhood. I held him in the hospital and made a promise. I promised I would work hard so he would never go without. So he would never feel the kind of poverty I grew up in. So he would have opportunities I never had. And I kept that promise. I worked 60-hour weeks. I took every overtime shift I could get. I missed birthdays. I missed school events. I missed Little League games, but I told myself it was worth it. Because I was providing, I was building a future for my son. 3 years later, our daughter Sarah was born. She had Margaret's eyes and my stubbornness, and she was the light of my life. I worked even harder after she was born, because now I had 2 children to provide for, 2 futures to secure. Margaret never complained. She raised the kids while I worked. She cooked. She cleaned. She stayed up late helping with homework. She was the one who showed up to every game, every recital, every parent-teacher conference. And I told myself that was okay, that my job was to provide and her job was to nurture. But looking back now, I wonder if my kids ever really knew me, or if I was just the man who came home tired and left early in the morning. Our youngest, Michael, was born when I was 38 years old. By then I was a foreman, making decent money, able to give my kids things I never had. New clothes, new shoes, college funds. I was proud of what I had built, proud of the life I had given them. But I was also tired, bone-deep tired. The kind of tired that does not go away with sleep. Still, I kept working, because that is what fathers do. They work until they cannot work anymore, and then they work a little more. David was the first to leave home. He went to college at Duke, full scholarship. I was so proud I almost cried. My son, the first in our family to go to a school like that. Margaret threw him a going-away party. All the neighbors came. Everyone congratulated us. And I stood there thinking I did it. I gave my son a better life. David studied hard, got his law degree, graduated at the top of his class, and got a job at a big firm in Atlanta. Starting salary of $120,000. More money than I had made in 2 years of construction work. He called me the day he got the offer. He said, "Dad, I did it." And I said, "I am so proud of you, son." But even then I felt something, a distance, a coldness in his voice, like he was telling me out of obligation, not excitement. I ignored it. I told myself he was just busy, just focused on his career, just doing what successful people do. Sarah left 2 years later. She went to college in Colorado, fell in love with the mountains, met a man out there, a ski instructor named Kyle. Margaret did not like him. She said there was something off about him, something shallow, but Sarah was in love, and you cannot argue with love. They got married when she was 25. I paid for the wedding, $30,000. I did not have that kind of money lying around. I took out a loan, but I did not tell Sarah that. I just smiled and walked her down the aisle and told her I was happy for her. She moved to Colorado permanently after that, and her calls became less frequent. Once a week became once a month. Once a month became holidays and birthdays, and eventually just holidays. Margaret noticed. She would say, "Sarah has not called in weeks." And I would say, "She is busy. She has her own life now," but deep down it hurt. Michael was different, or at least I thought he was. He stayed close to home, went to a local college, got a degree in business, and stayed in Charleston after he graduated. He lived only 20 minutes away, and for a while he came by often. Sunday dinners, helping with yard work, borrowing tools. I thought, at least I still have one child who cares. At least Michael still sees me as more than a paycheck. But I was wrong. Margaret got sick when she was 64 years old. pancreatic cancer, stage 4. The doctors said there was nothing they could do. She had 6 months, maybe a year if we were lucky. I called the kids immediately. David said he would visit soon. Sarah said she would try to get time off work. Michael said he would come by that weekend. Margaret waited. She sat in her favorite chair by the window, looking out at the garden she had planted decades ago, waiting for her children to come. David did not visit for 3 weeks, and when he finally came, he stayed for 2 hours. He looked uncomfortable the whole time, like he did not want to be there, like watching his mother die was an inconvenience. Sarah came once. She cried. She hugged Margaret. She said she loved her. And then she left and did not come back for 2 months. Michael came by more often, but even his visits felt hollow, like he was checking a box, fulfilling an obligation. Margaret noticed. One night, as I was helping her into bed, she looked at me with tears in her eyes and said, "They do not care, do they?" I did not know what to say, so I just held her hand and told her I loved her. Margaret died on a Tuesday morning in March. I was holding her hand. The hospice nurse was in the room, and my wife of 47 years took her last breath and left me alone in the world. I called the kids. They all came to the funeral. They all cried. They all said the right things. And for 6 weeks after she died, they stayed close. David called twice a week. Sarah visited once. Michael came by every Sunday. I thought maybe her death brought us closer. Maybe now they see how short life is. Maybe now they will make time for their father. But after 6 weeks, the calls stopped. The visits ended, and I was alone again. I tried to stay busy. I worked in the garden. I fixed things around the house. I went to the hardware store just to have something to do. But the house felt empty without Margaret. Every room reminded me of her. The kitchen where she cooked, the living room where she read, the bedroom where she died. I started calling the kids more often, just to hear their voices, just to feel less alone. But David was always in a meeting. Sarah was always busy with the kids. Michael was always about to head out. They would say, "I will call you back, Dad." But they never did. One day, about 4 months after Margaret died, David called me out of the blue. I was so happy to hear from him. I answered on the first ring. "Hey, son, how are you?" He did not ask how I was. He just said, "Dad, I need to ask you something." "Okay. Have you thought about what you are going to do with the house?" "What do you mean?" "I mean, it is a big house for one person. Have you thought about selling it?" I was confused. Why would I sell it? This is my home. I know, but it is worth a lot of money, and you do not need all that space. You could downsize, move into a condo or something. It would be easier. I said, "I am not selling the house, David." He paused. Then he said, "Well, have you updated your will?" "My will?" "Yeah, just to make sure everything is in order. For when, I felt something cold settle in my chest. My son was not calling to check on me. He was calling to check on my money. I said, "My will is fine, David." He said, "Okay, well, just something to think about. Anyway, I have to go. Talk soon." And he hung up. I sat there staring at the phone, and I realized something. Margaret was right. They did not care about me. They cared about what I had. A few weeks later, Sarah called. I thought maybe she was different. Maybe she actually wanted to talk to her father. But within 5 minutes, she started asking questions. "Dad, do you have a financial advisor?" "Yes." "Good. Because you need to make sure your assets are protected. For estate planning purposes." "I am fine, Sarah. I know, but you are getting older, and you do not want to leave a mess for us to clean up." "Us." She said us, like I was already dead, like they were already dividing up my things. I said, "I will take care of it." She said, "Okay, just make sure you do. Love you, Dad." And she hung up. Michael was the worst, because he was close. He could have visited any time, but he did not, unless he needed something. He would call and say, "Hey, Dad, can I borrow your truck?" Or, "Hey, Dad, can I borrow some money until payday?" Or, "Hey, Dad, can you watch the dog this weekend?" And I always said yes, because I wanted to feel needed. I wanted to feel like I still mattered to someone. But one day I asked him for help. I needed someone to help me move some furniture. My back was not what it used to be, and I could not do it alone. I called Michael. He said, "I'm kind of busy today, Dad." I said, "It will only take an hour." He sighed, like I was asking him to move a mountain. He said, "Can it wait until next week?" I said, "Sure." But next week never came. That is when I started to realize the truth. My children did not love me. They loved what I could give them. My money, my house, my things, but not me. Then came that September afternoon, the day everything changed. I woke up feeling wrong. My chest felt tight. My breathing was shallow. I thought maybe it was anxiety. Grief does strange things to your body. But as the day went on, it got worse. By mid-afternoon, I was gasping for air. My lips felt numb. My vision was blurry. I knew something was seriously wrong. My truck was in the shop. I had dropped it off 2 days earlier for brake work, so I could not drive myself. I tried to stay calm. I grabbed my phone, and I called David first. It went straight to voicemail. I left a message. "David, it is Dad. I need help. I cannot breathe. Please call me back." I waited 5 minutes. No call. So I called Sarah. Voicemail. I left another message. "Sarah, it is your father. I'm having trouble breathing. I need someone to take me to urgent care. Please call me." Still nothing. So I called Michael. He lived 20 minutes away. Surely he would answer. The phone rang and rang. And then it said, "The number you are trying to reach is not available." I tried again. Same thing. That is when I realized he had blocked me. My own son had blocked his father's number. I sat there on the edge of my bed, gasping for air, staring at my phone, and I felt something break inside me. Not my body, my heart. I did not know what to do. I did not have neighbors close enough to call. Most of my friends from work had either moved away or passed on. I was alone, truly alone, and I was terrified. That is when I thought of Marcus Williams, the son of my old work partner James. James and I had worked together for 30 years. We built houses together. We raised our families together. We were brothers in every way that mattered. When James died 3 years ago, I went to the funeral. I hugged his wife. I hugged his son. And I told Marcus, "If you ever need anything, you call me." Marcus had taken that seriously. He checked on me after Margaret died. He would stop by with groceries. He would mow my lawn without being asked. He would sit and talk with me when I was lonely, and he never asked for anything in return. I scrolled through my contacts until I found his number. My hands were shaking so bad I almost dropped the phone. I pressed call. He answered on the second ring. "Mr. Matthews? Marcus, I cannot breathe. I need help." I heard him move immediately. "Do not move. I'm coming right now." He did not ask questions. He did not hesitate. He just came. Marcus arrived in less than 10 minutes. He used the spare key I had given him months earlier. He found me sitting on the bed, bent over, struggling to pull in air. He put his hand on my shoulder. "I got you, Mr. Matthews. We are going to get you help." He helped me to his car. He drove carefully but quickly, and he got me to urgent care in less than 15 minutes. The nurse took one look at me and called for a doctor immediately. They put me on oxygen. They ran tests. And then they told Marcus to call an ambulance. I had severe pneumonia. My oxygen levels were dangerously low. If I had waited another hour, I might not have made it. They loaded me into the ambulance, and Marcus climbed in with me. He held my hand the whole way to the hospital. He did not leave my side. I spent 4 days in the hospital. Marcus visited every single day. He brought me clean clothes. He brought me books. He sat with me and talked about his father, about memories, about life, and my own children. David sent one text. "Hope you feel better soon, Dad." That was it. Sarah did not respond at all. Michael unblocked me long enough to send a message that said, "Glad you are okay." And then he blocked me again. I lay in that hospital bed, hooked up to machines, and I realized something. I'd spent 50 years working for my children. I had given them everything, and when I needed them most, they were not there. But Marcus, a young man who owed me nothing, showed up. He showed up when my own blood did not. When I was discharged, Marcus drove me home. He helped me inside. He made sure I had food in the fridge. He picked up my medications. He brought in my mail, and he said, "If you need anything, you call me, day or night." I looked at this young man and I saw something my own sons did not have: integrity, loyalty, love. And I made a decision 2 days after I got home, I called my attorney. His name was Richard Calloway. He had been my lawyer for 20 years. He handled Margaret's will. He handled our estate planning, and he knew my family well. I told him what happened. I told him about the blocked number, the ignored calls, the silence, and I told him about Marcus. Richard listened quietly. Then he said, "Robert, are you sure about this?" I said, "I have never been more sure of anything in my life." He said, "Your children will fight this." I said, "Let them try." We spent the next 2 weeks making sure everything was airtight. Richard arranged for a full medical evaluation to prove I was of sound mind. A doctor examined me. A psychiatrist interviewed me. They documented everything. Richard also had me record a video statement. In it, I explained why I was making the changes. I explained the block number, the ignored calls, the years of neglect, and I explained why Marcus deserved what I was giving him. Then we made it official. I signed over the house to Marcus. I signed over the cabin. I set up a trust that would give him access to my investments after I passed. And I left my children nothing, not out of hate, but because love is not measured in what you promise. It is measured in what you do. For 3 weeks, my children had no idea. I did not tell them. I just went about my life. Marcus checked on me regularly. He helped me with things around the house. He treated me like family, and I felt more valued by him than I had felt by my own children in years. Then one day, all 3 of them showed up, unannounced, together. I opened the door and there they were. David in his expensive suit, Sarah with her fake smile, Michael looking uncomfortable. They said they wanted to check on me. They said they were worried. They said they loved me. But I knew better. I let them in. We sat in the living room, and they started asking questions. "How are you feeling, Dad? Are you eating okay? Do you need help with anything?" It all sounded so caring, so loving. But I heard what they were really asking. Are you still competent? Are you still in control of your money? Have you done anything stupid? Then Marcus walked in. He had been helping me fix the back porch. He came through the side door, wiping his hands on a rag. "Hey, Mr. Matthews, I finished." He stopped when he saw my children. David stood up immediately. "Who is this?" I said, "This is Marcus, James Williams' son." David's eyes narrowed. "What is he doing here?" "He is helping me with some repairs." Sarah looked at Marcus like he was a threat. She said, "Dad, can we talk to you privately?" I said, "Anything you need to say, you can say in front of Marcus." Michael finally spoke up. "Dad, we are just worried. You have been through a lot, and we do not want someone taking advantage of you." I looked at my youngest son, the one who had blocked me, and I said, "Taking advantage of me?" Michael shifted uncomfortably. "You know what I mean. You are vulnerable right now. And people, they see an opportunity." I stood up. I looked at all 3 of them, and I said, "You want to know who took advantage of me?" They went silent. I said, "You did." David started to protest. "Dad, that is not." I cut him off. I said, "I called you when I could not breathe. You did not answer." I looked at Sarah. "I called you. You did not answer." I looked at Michael. "And you blocked me." Michael looked at the floor. I said, "But Marcus." He showed up. He took me to the hospital. He stayed with me. He has been here every day since. David's face went red. "So what? You are just going to hand everything over to some stranger?" I said, "He is not a stranger. He is more family to me than any of you have been." Sarah started crying, fake tears. I had seen them before. She said, "Dad, we love you. We were just busy. We did not know it was that serious." I said, "You did not care enough to find out." That is when David threatened me. He said, "If you do anything stupid with your estate, we will fight it. We will take you to court. We will prove you were manipulated." I smiled. I said, "Go ahead." He blinked. "What?" I said, "I already changed everything. The house is Marcus's. The cabin is Marcus's. The money is in a trust for Marcus. And it is all legal. I had doctors evaluate me. I have a recorded statement. I have witnesses." The room went silent. David's face went pale. Sarah stopped crying. Michael just stared at me. David said, "You cannot do this." I said, "I already did." Sarah said, "We are your children." I said, "Then act like it." They left angry. They did not say goodbye. They just walked out and slammed the door, and I have not heard from them since. except for the lawsuit. David tried to sue me for mental incompetence. He claimed Marcus manipulated me. He claimed I was not in my right mind. We went to court. Richard presented all the evidence, the medical evaluations, the video statement, the timeline of their neglect, the blocked phone number. The judge looked at David and said, "Your father has every right to distribute his estate as he sees fit. And based on the evidence, he is fully competent." Case dismissed. David tried to appeal. It was denied. Now here I am, still in my home, still alive, still breathing. And I have one person in my life who actually cares about me. Not 3 children who see me as a bank account, but one young man who sees me as a human being. People ask me if I regret it, if I feel bad about cutting my children out. And the honest answer is no. I do not regret it, because I gave them everything. I worked my whole life for them. I sacrificed time with them so I could provide for them. And when I needed them most, they were not there. So why should I reward that? Why should I give my life's work to people who could not be bothered to answer the phone when I was dying? I think about Margaret sometimes. I wonder what she would say. Part of me thinks she would be disappointed. She loved our children so much, even when they hurt her, even when they ignored her. But another part of me thinks she would understand, because she felt it too. That loneliness, that rejection. She just did not live long enough to do anything about it. But I did, and I am not sorry. Marcus does not treat me like a charity case. He does not act like he is owed something. He just shows up. He helps because he wants to, not because he expects something in return. And that is the difference. That is what real love looks like. So let me ask you something. If you were in my position, what would you do? If your children abandoned you when you needed them most, would you still leave them everything? Or would you leave it to the person who actually showed up? I want to hear from you. Comment below and tell me honestly. Am I wrong for what I did? Or did my children get exactly what they deserved? And if you have ever felt abandoned by your own family, write "I understand" in the comments, because I need to know I am not the only one. Before you go, hit that like button. Share this story with someone who needs to hear it, and subscribe to this channel. We are pushing to reach 10,000 subscribers by March 2026. Your support means everything, and stories like mine need to be told, because too many people suffer in silence, afraid to set boundaries with their own children, afraid to stand up for themselves, afraid to demand the respect they deserve. But I am here to tell you, it is okay to protect yourself. It is okay to say no. It is okay to choose the people who actually show up for you, even if that means cutting out your own blood. Let me tell you something I have learned in my 72 years. Family is not always about blood. Sometimes, family is the people who show up when everyone else walks away. The people who hold your hand in the hospital. The people who check on you when you are alone. The people who love you, not for what you have, but for who you are. Marcus is my family now, not because we share DNA, but because he chose to care. And that means more than any blood relation ever could. I do not know how much time I have left. Maybe 5 years, maybe 10, maybe just 1. But however long I have, I will spend it with people who value me. Not people who see me as an ATM, not people who only call when they want something, but people who see me as a person, a father, a friend, a human being who deserves respect and love. If you are watching this and you are estranged from your parents, ask yourself why. Is it because they were abusive? Is it because they hurt you? Or is it because they expected you to show up? Because there is a difference between setting boundaries with toxic parents and abandoning good parents. Because you are too busy. My children like to tell themselves I was a bad father, that I was never there, that I chose work over them. And maybe there is some truth to that. Maybe I should have been home more. Maybe I should have gone to more baseball games. Maybe I should have said I love you more often. But I was there in every way I knew how to be. I worked so they could eat. I worked so they could have clothes. I worked so they could go to college. I gave them the life I never had. And when I needed them, they were nowhere to be found. So if they want to paint me as the villain in their story, fine. But I know the truth, and so do they. There is something freeing about letting go, about releasing the people who do not value you. even when those people are your own children. For so long I held on. I made excuses for them. I told myself they were just busy, just stressed, just living their lives. But the truth is, people make time for what matters. And I did not matter to them, not really. So I stopped waiting for them to care. I stopped hoping they would change. And I started valuing the people who already valued me. Marcus does not know how much this means to me. I have tried to tell him, but I do not think he fully understands. He thinks he is just helping an old man. But he is doing so much more than that. He is giving me hope. He is giving me purpose. He is reminding me that I still matter, that my life still has value, that I am more than just a check waiting to be cashed. Sometimes I wonder what my children tell their friends. Do they say their father abandoned them? Do they say I chose a stranger over my own blood? Do they paint themselves as victims? Probably, because it is easier to be the victim than to admit you were wrong. It is easier to blame me than to look in the mirror and ask, why did not I answer the phone? I hope one day they understand, not for my sake, but for theirs, because carrying that kind of guilt and resentment will eat them alive. I know, I carried guilt for years, guilt about not being home enough, guilt about working too much, guilt about not being the father I thought I should be. But I have let that go now, because I did the best I could with what I knew, and if that was not enough for them, that is their burden to carry. Not mine. I think about death sometimes, not in a morbid way, but in a practical way. I am 72 years old. I have lived a full life. I have loved and lost. I have worked hard and built something, and when my time comes, I will go knowing I stood up for myself. I will go knowing I did not let people use me. I will go knowing I chose dignity over obligation, and that is enough. Marcus will inherit everything when I am gone. And I know he will use it wisely, not because he is perfect, but because he is good, because he has integrity, because he understands that wealth is not just about money. It is about values. It is about character. It is about showing up for the people who need you. And he has shown me that over and over again. My children will be angry when I die. They will say I was unfair. They will say I was manipulated. They will say Marcus stole their inheritance. But they will be wrong, because you cannot steal something that was never yours. And they stopped being my heirs the day they stopped being my children. So here I am, an old man with one true friend, living in the house I built, surrounded by memories of a woman I loved. And I am at peace, real peace. Not the kind of peace that comes from avoiding conflict, but the kind of peace that comes from knowing you did the right thing, even when it was hard, even when it hurt. Even when everyone else thought you were wrong. If you made it this far, thank you. Thank you for listening to my story. Thank you for not judging me before you heard the whole truth. And thank you for being here. Now I need you to do something for me. Comment below and tell me what you think. Would you have done the same thing? Or would you have forgiven your children and left them everything? I want to know. And if you have ever been in a situation like mine, share your story in the comments. Because someone else out there needs to hear it. Someone else needs to know they are not alone. Hit that like button if this story made you think. Share it with someone who needs to hear it. And subscribe to this channel if you have not already. We are working toward 10,000 subscribers by March 2026, and your support keeps us going. These stories matter. Your voice matters. And together we can remind people that respect is not optional, not even from your own children. I will leave you with this.